the deciding day of the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. All-out drama.
Absolutely inexcusable.
Like, why do we get points when...
Rivalries.
Full Viking mode.
Full throttle racing on a knife edge. Can Australia maintain their hometown lead, or will Emirates GBR steal their thunder? France and Switzerland are primed to upset the pecking order. Welcome to SailGP.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything. Give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
Following events in the Middle East and New Zealand to kick off Season 5 of SailGP, the best sailors on the planet have now arrived in one of the most iconic port cities in the world. This is Sydney, Australia. Super Sunday has arrived down under as 12 national teams have their sights set on a championship, and with it the lion's share of the $13 million prize purse. But first, Australia's most iconic sailing venue will put the best to the test in front of massive crowds on land and sea, with Shark Island providing a front row seat to the action, with nature providing the power on these equally prepared F-50s. Speed is the name of the game. Welcome to the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. Alongside former world champion Emily Nagle and Olympian Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. After the opening stops in Dubai and Auckland, Season 5 of SailGP is off and running. Following Sydney, the league heads to North America for a U.S. triple header, starting with back-to-back events in the Golden State of California. The 12 national teams will also head to South America for the first time and a visit to scenic Rio, before traveling to Europe for more new locations, Britain, Germany, and Switzerland, before a return to the Middle East for the culmination of Season 5 in November. Before we go racing today, let's recap the action so far in the Harbour City. The KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix was set to have the biggest fleet in SailGP history, with France returning to the league.
Oh, they blur, they're back, Todd, they're back, and what a...
But with the United States SailGP team ending their chances with a disastrous capsize, they are out with significant damage. Germany Deutsche Bank suffered huge penalty points after 2 incidents in practice. The worst was a give-way boat situation to move on to Brazil.
Inexcusable.
Absolutely kidding me.
Marchini Grail does a nice job of minimising the impact there.
Grail extremely frustrated as they picked up penalty points as well in the collision. France came back with a bang, nailing their opening start on the first day.
De La Pierre come out red hot there. Brilliant work.
But it was Switzerland who took the left side of the course and found pressure to run away with race 1. In race number 1, it's Sydney will go the Swiss way. Australia won the second start.
Perfection from Slingsby.
But Emirates GBR quickly reeled them in.
Britain, what a overtake.
Dylan Fletcher and company get the win in race number 2.
Pretty wild racing, isn't it?
Whoa, that was very, very tight. Full Viking mode for the Danish in the middle of the pack there. Oh, the Germans needed to have seen that coming earlier.
Slingsby was on fire, winning the final 2 races from perfectly timed starts.
Sometimes it just clicks, and we're sort of in a little purple patch at the moment. We hope we can continue it on.
Dylan Fletcher's Emirates GBR team followed up their race 2 victory with 2 third places to sit them 5 points from the hometown Flying Roos.
Nice day, guys.
France managed to escape a crazy day of racing with a consistent scoreboard. They rounded out the podium from day 1. So after 4 fleet races on day 1, it is the homestanding Aussies with 37 points. Emirates GBR hold down second, and the newly returned French are in third place, 1 point clear of the Swiss, who occupy fourth. The Danes are still in contention for the final. However, Spain, last year's season champions, and Canada will need to be near flawless in the next 2 fleet races for them to have any chance of making today's final, where only the top 3 teams on points will race at the end of the day here in Sydney, Australia.
Well, we're aiming for 3 more qualifying races for the 11 teams today. 10 points are up for grabs for a race winner, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. And 0, of course, if you're 11th. We're going to accumulate the points before the top 3 teams are going to head to the winner-takes-all event final. Well, now it's time to head over to Emily to take us around today's racetrack.
With light and shifty winds today, crews will have their patience tested as timing the pop-up onto the foils at the start is going to be critical in the lull behind Shark Island. Teams that get caught off the foils will have to fight for clear wind and risk being left behind. Once again, expect plenty of traffic at the bottom gates with the 11 teams funneling into each other. As we saw yesterday, this made for some huge opportunities with teams moving up as much as 5 positions at once. With the island in the centre of the course, it's a roll of the dice for strategists to decide which side will be faster.
So it's now just 11 boats that will be participating. If you are new to the racing, it was the USA that had an incident on practice day, and they will not be able to race here in Sydney. Right now, we check in with the 4th member of our team. Down on the water, here is Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Well, it's a different wind direction today, but we still have the same issues for the sailors. The wind direction and the wind speed is super variable, so lots of opportunity to sail less distance and find more pressure. We do have the 24-metre all-purpose wing, high-speed T-foils, but we do have the light air rudders in to help with those foiling manoeuvres to get around the track. As we know, that decision to go around Shark Island, I think that eastern side away from the Hub Bridge is favoured, but we're just going to have to wait and see who picks it right.
All right, thank you very much. As the teams now get themselves into position, this is the calm before the chaos. 11 national teams going to put themselves in the start box, and then the racing will be on here at Sydney at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. Coming up on 1 minute to go before the start of racing here on Super Sunday in Sydney, Australia at the Rolex SailGP Championship. So here we go, Stevie. There are the 11 teams. The USA unable to go because of wing damage, and now it is all on. People will be scrambling for points, and it will be a real fight, especially in this first race of 3.
Yeah, I mean, what a camera angle to show us this gusty wind coming off the Sydney Harbour shoreline there. It's all over the place. I don't know if you've ever played a little Mario Kart, Todd, but it's going to be a little bit like that out there. Plenty of opportunities for banana skins, plenty of opportunities to find those big gusts of wind, those dark patches of water, and get some extra speed. Australia starting beautifully yesterday. Middle of our stream, they start to wind it up. Our pole predictor sits on board the German boat at the moment, and at the bottom of the screen it's Great Britain. Australia and Great Britain are in the best position at the moment. The optimum place to start, mid-line, but it's going to be hard to hit that. Judging the wind you're going to have at the gun's crucial here. Australia, one more dive up the line, they're going to wind it up at the bottom. Great Britain up to speed. Here we go, they're coming in towards the line. Who's timed it right? Clear start there. Australia were a little early. They had to back off the gas just before the gun, and it's Great Britain at the bottom who are going to be on the inside. Can Rockwool Denmark get over the top? I think it's going to be too little too late for the Vikings, and Dylan Fletcher's Great Britain should lead at Mark 1.
The Brits are off and running at mark number 1. Emirates GBR on the inside. They hold the line. The Italians just off their right, and here comes North Star Canada. Look at the speeds.
Tired, really short to this first boundary, Todd. Here we go. Great Britain needing to manoeuvre very early. Gate 2 is going to come so quickly, and New Zealand, who need a good day, well, they're stuck in the pack.
Happy to roll down if you need. Right.
So your Rolex sprint leader goes the way of Emirates GBR. Keep an eye on those circles. When you see that circle, it's 2 boats involved. The boat with the red has to stay clear with the boat in the green. They will have priority. And here we go. Look how quick they are to the DP World gate number 2. Emirates GBR will lead the way. Canada tucks in behind them. Italy sits in 3rd. And look at New Zealand trying to dive inside. Do they have the space? Yes, they do.
Yeah, right of way with New Zealand there. Just first boat to split away Denmark. They didn't want to follow the traffic in front of them. They've got their own little bit of space. That should be good news for them. Australia and France with tidy roundings, and when you're back in the pack, you're already compromised. Sailing in the disturbed wind, it's going to be hard to get maximum speed out your F50 when you're back where the Spanish and Brazil are right now.
Stevie, we didn't see a lot of changes yesterday when racing took place at mark number 1. If you were in the first 2 or 3 positions, unless you made a major mistake, that's kind of where you're going to finish up. With the conditions that Lisa described today and the course the way it's set up, do you see the same thing kind of playing out?
No, I think there should be a huge number number of opportunities. The one thing that stays constant is if you're in the lead, you get to make your own decision. So you look up the course, you say, okay, I see dark patch of water, I see more wind there, I'm going to head that way. If you're behind, if you want to sail towards that wind, you might need to compromise yourself. When you're in the pack, Denmark and France there, right away France, Denmark just clear. As soon as you're back in that tussle in the middle, you can be compromised by the other boats, so it's harder to make those gains. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of overtakes happening on this racetrack. Already, Todd, big split. Bottom right-hand corner, Great Britain. They're coming towards what Lisa described as the eastern side of the Shark Island.
Oh, no!
Oh, damage on board the Brazilian boat there. A bit of a malfunction by the look of it. Jib sheet, potentially. This flapping sail at the front, we can see it's loose. I think the sheet that pulls that in and out is broken. Yeah, left-hand side of Shark Island, New Zealand and Australia. Right-hand side, Great Britain. Who's judged that call right? Who's going to find the more wind? They're very, very committed when there's a big rock in the middle of the race course.
We'll get around the island at least.
Looks pretty good for the New Zealand crew at the moment. Looks like they've got a good angle. They're heading straight at gate 3. New Zealand are going to make a gain on Great Britain.
So unlike yesterday's course, Shark Island has come into major play today, and that is saying it mildly. This is race number 5 here, and we are scheduled for 3 more fleet races, then the event final. It is Emirates GBR out in front. The Kiwis showing their best form over 2 days, and the Australians sit in 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand, I think, pretty much out of a shot of the final here without some kind of miracle today. But they'll be thinking season points, trying to get a good result, trying to get a bit of confidence back, of course. And what a great upwind leg by them. Canada, well, they've still got a chance of making the final, so they need a good result. And Spain and France look like they're going to be towards the back of the pack. But can anyone challenge this Australian crew on the overalls today?
Penalty, Italy, relative France, port attack boat not keeping clear.
So Italy and France entangled in a little bit of get together. That's positions 7 and 8. So Italy will have to drop behind France.
It should be a fairly quick penalty to pay that, I think, as France turned off the other way there. But really tight. As soon as you're back in this pack, it's really hard to find any space and easy to get tangled up.
We've got a good gap behind us with us and the Kiwis.
Hear the voice of Hannah Mills, the strategist on board Emirates GBR.
Coming.
So they're setting up for a manoeuvre here. They're talking about the phase, they're talking about what's the angle of the wind, how do we want to come out on the tack that's going to take us up the course the fastest next time. So Great Britain, they get first pick here. Will New Zealand follow, or will they try and find space on that other side of Shark Island where they made the big gain on the upwind leg?
It looks like the Brazilians have had to come to a complete stop, and their support staff will come in and see if they can get a repair on that. Remember, there's still 2 more fleet races to go after this one, and they'd love to be a part of that. Meanwhile, all eyes on first place at gate number 4. It's Emirates GBR out in front. The Kiwis sit in 2nd. Canada's moved up to 3rd, and Australia, who leads the overall, currently sits in 4th.
Lovely tidy rounding, and New Zealand. It often happens a bit later in the race. New Zealand are going to follow. If that's definitely the right thing to do, it's very rare you make a gain by doing deliberately the wrong manoeuvre. So on the British boat, they felt right turn was safest. Great Britain take that turn, but New Zealand decide to follow. And Australia, look at this, 1 more place gain. Bad news for North Star Canada. They need all the points they can get if they're going to make a charge towards the event final here.
France comes around with Rockwell, Denmark behind them. Switzerland, the winners of the first race yesterday, they currently sit in 7th place. And then you have the German Deutsche Bank team currently in 9th.
Start to see the points unfold of the race to the final here today as things go on. But what's important right now for the crews is finding the next opportunity up the course. Looks like good wind to the right-hand side, top right-hand corner of our screen. Wouldn't be surprised to see Great Britain push all the way out to that side of the course here. New Zealand probably going to follow. And Spain, well, they saw that early on the right-hand side of our screen.
We might want to go right side.
So Dylan Fletcher saying it feels like we might want to go right.
Yeah, I think he's already made that call, and he's really stretching out nicely.
So Emily Nagel's going to be crunching the numbers. It is the battle to the final. Emily, what do you got so far?
And well, with these current positions, this would almost certainly cement Australia and Great Britain through to the final. France would still clinch that final spot, but the Danish, they'd be there on 29 points. We've still got so many races left. Anything can change.
And that's as it stands right now. To Emily's point, there are still 2 more races scheduled after this one. So that means there's still 20 more points on top to gain.
A lot of action here. It's been a nice simple upwind leg really for the British crew here. Anything where you're only doing a couple of manoeuvres does really save you, so a lot of time, give you a lot of opportunity. Of course, that's so much harder in the pack. France, though, sitting in 6th, they'll be feeling like they want to gain 1 or 2 places.
And as they approach gate number 5 here on race number 5, it is Britain out in front. Emirates GBR leading the Kiwis. They go 1 and 2 at gate number 5. Lisa Darmanin, now that we have Shark Island really in play, how is this going to change things going forward? And what are you seeing on the course?
2, 1.
So the wind has picked up in general across the course. So it's a much more open course with this direction, but it is moving around a lot. So I don't think one lap will be the same throughout the whole day today. So it's really going to test the sailors. I do like where Great Britain's going. They're going to keep it simple around the rest of the racetrack.
Tight moment on the right-hand side there with Great Britain, Switzerland, Denmark, and of course the Swiss team, well, they had such a good day one, they're really going to need to pick things up.
So it's down to the middle of the course. There you see that buoy in the center. It'll be Emirates GBR that'll get there first, and then the left-hand turn, which will take them to that Emirates winning moment. So it'll be a 2 wins out of 5 for Emirates GBR. They join the 2-win club with Australia.
Yeah, they've really looked a class act along with Australia so far at this event, haven't we?
To the left of that mark. Yeah, all good.
There we go. A little bit of navigation required there for Hannah Mills, just helping Dylan find the marks. There's a lot of action out on Sydney Harbour today, and a last-minute charge from New Zealand. This will be great for their confidence, but confused they might be.
Okay, 4 going down.
And race number 5, the first race on Super Sunday, goes the way of Emirates GBR, and the Emirates winning moment goes to the Brits. New Zealand holds on for 2nd place. It'll be Australia moving up in the pack. Stevie, they were back in 7th, and now they move up to 3rd. Not like they needed the points, so the rich keep getting richer for the Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, they're just sailing the boat fast, and of course Tom Slingsby, well, he's done an awful lot of sailing on Sydney Harbour, knows his way around it. It might be shifty and gusty, but he'll have seen these patterns before for teams like North Star Canada. Maybe not as experienced on the harbour, that's a good race, but a couple of points dropped really in the battle to the final, although they are ahead of France, and that will be crucial in that race to the final.
Position might be a tip change.
Spain comes across in 5th, France goes 6th, and it is Rockwell, Denmark, Nikolai Sehested in 7th. German Deutsche Bank will finish in 8th, with Switzerland coming in 9th place, and the Italians will have to settle for 10th, with the Brazilians still out on the course getting the repairs.
Yeah, I mean, pretty tough first race there for the Swiss and for Rockwell, Denmark. I think they really need to pick things up in this next race to get themselves back in with a shot at the final. Great Britain and Australia showing really they are the class of the feet at the moment, and kind of conditions that Dylan Fletcher likes. He grew up on a lake near Northampton in the UK called Pittsford, and a very shifty, gusty wind, lots of opportunities, and Dylan's seeing the course nicely. Him and Hannah Mills have been working well all weekend in that tactics strategy set up on the boat, so they'll be pretty encouraged after things out there in that first race.
Stevie, we talk about this all the time. It's finding consistency out there, and over the course of the last 3 events, really you have to look at Emirates GBR and Australia as the 2 most consistent teams going.
Yeah, I mean, they're sailing the boat very nicely, and they seem to be finding the patterns. It's been a great comeback to the fleet for Dylan Fletcher, that goes without saying.
So on day number 1, they win race number 2. On day number 2, they win race number 5. So that's 2 victories for Emirates GBR. We now go on board. Dylan Fletcher is their driver. Dylan, kind of a different day out there today. You and Hannah Mills having a lot of conversations out there trying to avoid that big Shark Island. How was the track different today than it was yesterday for you?
Yeah, it's completely different out here today, and we weren't sure exactly what we were going to get breeze strength-wise, but it's filled in nicely, and there's plenty on out here. It's tricky.
Hannah, the Australians have kindly put a roundabout in the middle of your racetrack out there right now. Is there any particularly fixed pattern on which side you want to go, or are you just having to fly by the seat of your pants?
Yeah, well, we like a roundabout in the UK, so it's good for us. To be honest, it was pretty right favoured going to the right of Shark Island. Just, really good pressure over there and simple X-wise up the beat. So at the moment, that's looking pretty strong.
And how are you feeling about the starts, Dill? Is it absolutely crucial you nail these starts? Have you got a pretty fixed plan for them?
Absolutely crucial. We saw yesterday the Aussies dominated the start and they dominated the results, really. So, yeah, nice to get a good start in race 1 and start with the bullet.
Dylan, appreciate your time. You and Hannah, we wish you the best of luck in the next race coming up in race number 6. So it is Emirates GBR now with 2 victories out of 5 races.
And the key to getting that bullet for GBR was firing off the line like a bullet there. 65 kilometers an hour as they crossed the line with the optimum angle to Mach 1, resulting in a top speed of over 90 kilometers an hour in this bearaway. Now, from there, it was smooth sailing for the British team, but the boats that to watch out for here were Australia and New Zealand. They didn't have a great start, got to Mach 1 in the back of the pack, but boy, did they find the right shifts. New Zealand made a huge gain going to the western side of Shark Island, coming into that top gate, hot on the heels of Emirates GBR. They seem to have gotten rid of the gremlins they had yesterday. They looked a lot more stable out there and chased them down the whole way. Really impressive as well by Australia, who started out at 8th and worked their way up the fleet consistently, picking one boat off at a time, as we've seen them do time and time again. The key, though, was GBR sailed less distance, while New Zealand had that higher average boat speed and minimised maneuvers.
So Emirates GBR wins the battle in race number 5. They get the win, but how about the Emirates fly time? 100%. It doesn't get much better than that, as the Kiwis and Pete Burling look much better today on day number 2 than they did on day number 1. So 5 races up, 5 races down, and it remains the Australians out in front, 45 points. As Emily alluded to, they've almost cemented that spot into the 3-boat final. Remember, only the top 3 teams make it. Right now, it's Emirates GBR and France, the top 3. But Rockwell, Denmark, Switzerland, and Canada, as well as Spain, still have a shot. Sydney in summer is sensational, and there's so much to explore outside of the city center. It's an adventurer's paradise, endless coves, national parks, botanical gardens, and world-famous surf. Explore on water or on land. Sydney is ready for your next adventure. Second Grand Prix of the season here in Auckland, New Zealand. Extreme weather conditions, and during practice day, we had the first casualty.
Unfortunately for Red Bull Italy, they had an incident on Friday practice that their flight controller was injured when they had a big crash.
Andre's got a concussion, so we need to find a plan B.
I should speak to Bruno and Team France.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, look, they've got their whole team here. I got in touch with Jason, who I know pretty well, and yeah, he was pumped.
Last day of competition here in Auckland. If the conditions were strong yesterday, today the wind is blowing even stronger.
It is bloody small racetrack, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's, jeez.
Up to the kill pick.
One more race left to go before the final. And Stevie, to me, the surprise of the Grand Prix so far is Team Red Bull Italy, who are now racing with the flight controller from Team France, Jason Saunders.
Italians line it out, Red Bull Italy coming in fast.
That's probably the most anxious I've ever been sailing in my life.
The Italians are fighting with Australia and Denmark for first position. So far, the Australians have been the best team of the weekend by far. In fact, Stevie, regardless of this race's results, they will be in the final. And let's not forget, the Australians also have a new wing trimmer.
Yeah, super proud of how all the team performed.
Halfway through the final, Australia in a huge lead. Spain and Emirates GBR out back.
They're going to try and dive inside.
They set up. They're turning down here. They went for the aggressive move. Yeah, that was the right move to make if you want to win the race.
The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Australians.
My relationship with Chris is going extremely well, and we're so fortunate to...
Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, we are SailGP.
These are the Rolex SailGP Championships. This is the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney, event number 3 of season 5. Alongside Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris. Race 5 just went the way of Emirates GBR. We've got 2 more fleet races until the event final.
The KPMG decision of the day focuses on how to split Shark Island. Looking at the course side on, the route below the island is notably wider, allowing for more space between boats, making it easier for teams to have clearer breeze. The side above the island is half the width, and closer to shore, meaning there will be a bigger effect from the land on the wind. What we saw with the first race today was the breeze funneling down this narrow gap, leading to the huge gains to New Zealand in the first lap. But with shifty conditions, don't expect this to be the case for every race.
So here we go. We get ready before the big race here. This is race number 6 with one more fleet race to go after this one. And there you go. Emily's crunched the numbers. Stevie's Australia looks very good. Great Britain, probably a lock. And now it's France. Denmark and Switzerland are the players for that third and final spot.
Yeah, not on our sheet there, but Switzerland are actually tied with Denmark as well. So really, I think we could turn our eyes to that battle between France, Denmark and Switzerland for this next race, because Great Britain and Australia, well, it's going to take a major slip up for them to get themselves out of it here. Anything's possible, of course, but this next little bit of time in the start is going to be absolutely crucial. I mean, I think the wind looks pretty gusty. Lisa was talking to us about the racetrack beforehand, and I'm wondering, Lisa, if anything as much has changed on the water out there right now.
To be honest, Stevie, it's changing every couple of minutes out here. The wind has picked up at the end of that last race, and it's held for that. It has moved a little bit more around to the right. But as I said, it's sort of more of an open racetrack than we've seen here in the past. But I think we're going to see higher speeds throughout this race. And where the start box is, there's a lot more wind than at the start of the previous race. So it should be a little bit easier for the teams to get up and ripping.
So, Stevie, does that make mark number 1 even that more sporty?
It does. I think what's kind of crucial as well is this first leg from the start to the Mark 1 on the left-hand side of our screen there. It's really, really short. So despite the fact that if you're up towards the top of the screen, you're going to have a faster angle into Mark 1, it's going to be hard to get right round the outside of that traffic jam. And basically, Denmark were at the top going fast last time, but they just got stuck on the outside. So I think the bottom of the line, middle of our screen, that's the place to be.
1 minute to go before the start of race number 6, and then there'll be one more fleet race before the event final, where only the top 3 teams. If you're new to SailGP, think of it like this. It's a game of musical chairs. There's 3 chairs left, and right now it looks like Emirates GBR and Australia have closed down that. So, Stevie, we're talking about 4 nations battling for one final chair in the final.
I think so, really. I think it's really tight. So we can see Denmark have got some space. They're at the top again. That's their same plan, and they've been a little bit, they've been so consistent, but I'm going to start to call them a little bit too average. They need to now really start to be a bit more aggressive here. Top of the line, they've got that space. France at the bottom, that's the aggression we're used to from Delapierre, and the Swiss in the middle of the line. Well, at the moment, the pole predictor suggests it's Denmark. Top of the screen there. Italy are late, out the back here. So what do France do? Can they accelerate from there? It's New Zealand and Denmark that are going to be fastest coming in here. They look a little late on Denmark, watching for that line to turn white, and who's hit the timing right? Perfect by Canada and New Zealand. New Zealand are going to have the fastest angle here. Can Canada hang on the inside? Denmark, Switzerland and France are out the back.
And here we go, mark number 1, race number 6, and it is the Kiwis striking back. Canada on the inside, the Germans get pushed wide.
Denmark were fast enough, they're on the outside a little bit, so they're going to struggle. The Rolex sprint leader, New Zealand, have got control of their first decision, but for Spain and France, they're already a long, long way back. Rockwool Denmark need a good decision right down here to cement a solid position in this race.
First to turn away are the Kiwis, followed by North Star Canada and German Deutsche Bank. Then you see Rockwool Denmark. So Rockwool Denmark feeling pretty good about things right now. France out the back, and it looks like the Danes have the best position. There you see Switzerland. They won the first race of this event. They currently sit in 7th. A quick move right down to gate number 2, the DP World Gate.
Yeah, what a difference a day makes for the New Zealand crew here. They take that left turn, keeping it simple. Looks like good wind in the top left-hand corner of our screen, so that's good news for the New Zealand crew. But Denmark here, Rockwool Denmark, they've given themselves an opportunity. Will they be able to make a gain by taking the other side of the course?
There you see Australia coming through in 9th place with priority over Spain, so they had to dip behind. Interesting to see what Tom Slingsby doing here, staying away from everyone once again, Steve. He doesn't need the points per se, but I don't think he's just going to lay over and just hand over the first 8 spots.
Oh no, and Tom Slingsby's super strength is being fast. Get yourself space, get yourself speed.
And things are heating up in that race to the final. If the Canadians can hold on to that 2nd place, that would see them be the team into the final, because France are back in 9th.
It's all action here, Todd.
That's huge.
It's all action, yeah, and you can just see here the separation Denmark have got. As soon as you get that far removed from the rest of the fleet, you can make a massive gain. But of course, the opportunity to make a massive gain does mean you might make a massive loss as well. And at the moment, they've lost a bit of distance on Denmark there. They're going to have to close things down.
Canadians, what do you guys reckon? Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Germany underneath, but they're still important.
Okay. So Anne-Marie and Nikolai Seherstedt there are chatting on board Rottwell Denmark. They're going to try and follow out to that far side of Shark Island, trying to find a bit more breeze. And I guess we want to see what Lisa's seeing down on the water right now, Todd.
Yeah, Stevie, what I'm seeing is there's a bit of a lee under Shark Island. So where Denmark had to cross, Australia had to cross, they're in less breeze, but it's also a bit of a right shift at the moment. So I think they're sailing a little bit more distance than the teams that took the other turning mark.
That's right, and looking to the Oracle Cloud here, we've got our SailGP insights, and we can see right now the wind speed on board New Zealand's pretty good. Denmark have found themselves back in the breeze again, but at the moment, boat speed on board that New Zealand boat is pretty quick, and they look like they're going to sneak around Shark Island and take a nice lead to gate 3.
Leg 3 of 7, this is race number 6, one more fleet race to go. It is New Zealand now that has taken the lead. There you see Shark Island right in the middle, Denmark, Canada, and now Australia moving ahead. How about the Aussies? They were sitting in 7th, 8th place, and now they see themselves all the way up to 3rd.
Yeah, just got a bit of space, got a good wind shift, and then put the hammer down. I think what's interesting, Todd, is you saw the insights after the last race. New Zealand with 100% flight time. Yesterday, if I was going to question anyone, I'd say Leo Takahashi looked like he was struggling in that flight controller position. Boat looked really unstable. We even wondered if it was an issue with the boat. But right now, well, Leo's gone home, done his homework, because he's coming back with some good results on the flight control today.
And with the Australians moving up, Canada now in a dogfight. Remember, every point counts for North Star Canada and Giles Scott as they try to claw themselves into a top 3 position with one more fleet race to go before the field is cut to just the top 3 on points.
Yeah, well, Canada were ahead of Denmark when Canada were into the final, so that must mean Rottwell Denmark are back in the final as it stands right now. Real tussle between these two boats, that will be crucial. But yeah, for the rest of the fleet, what's frightening is Tom Slingsby's gone 9th to 4th in an absolute oneer, just got a little bit of space and then fired through the fleet.
As Stevie mentioned there, by gaining on Canada, that would put Denmark into the final.
So Australia, Great Britain, and Denmark as it stands right now. But remember, there's still one more fleet race after this one. 10 points goes to the winner, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place, nothing for 11 and 12. There you see the USA on the left side of your screen, their boat blacked out. They had an incident practice on Friday, unable to get into this event, and we're hoping they can race back in home waters in Los Angeles in a few weeks' time. But the race continues on. New Zealand out in front, Denmark, Canada, Australia, Germany. That is your top 5. Stevie, good to see Brazil. Good work by their shore crew getting that boat up and running again. They've moved into 5th place now.
Yeah, they've got themselves a lot of space towards the top of our screen here. That should be a potential gain here. We've only got now one upwind leg to go, Todd. We're coming down here. We've got one tricky upwind leg, one more decision. Which side of Shark Island do you choose to go? And for Canada, could be quite crucial. Big gain for Brazil by doing that other side of Shark Island there. Excellent work, strategist Paul Goodison, Marcini Grail, finding the extra breeze. What decision do you make at the bottom? I think if I'm Brazil, I'm turning left and heading back out there.
It's tricky. The right turn is not on for the last upwind.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Anne-Marie there, because we've just seen Brazil make a huge gain. So that should really mean you're potentially going to want a left turn or a right turn early tack to head back to that right-hand side of the course, top of our screen, to find the more wind.
So it's still the Kiwis out in front, and this, Stevie, may be their first win of the event, because they dug themselves a massive hole on day number 1, having no result better than 7th place, and I think it's going to be a case of too little too late.
Yeah, I think too little too late for the final, but as we say, it's a season-long championship, isn't it? If they can get back to 5th, 6th overall in this event,
limit the damages.
Limit the damage. It was a terrible day by their standards, and they made a lot of mistakes. Let's not forget that. They deserve to be where they are, but they're showing us how classy and how quality they are right now. This is the tussle, though. It's the battle to the final. Rottwell Denmark got it locked in.
kept it around -1 or 0 rest. Don't go too hard.
Talking about the cant there, how far out do we push the foil? The further out we push that main foil, cant it out, the more horsepower we've got, but the more potential we've got to overload the boat if you drop into less wind. So there, Nikolai Seherstedt, let's play the averages.
They're having a cant out a bit, rest. Canada coming in 10.
There you go, Canada have made a little bit of a gain. Mode change needed by Rockwool Denmark. They're changing gears, going to push to the edge a bit more cant, bit more power, bit more on the edge.
3, 2, 1. I'm going to have to build in this with Canada.
Struggling to get the boat to go.
Yeah.
Not sure what I can do, TJ.
Oh, good. Just.
I think it's always hard when you've got a boat right near you like this, Todd. They're always going to have them in their rear view mirror, if you like, and in front they're coming in ahead. New Zealand have boosted away from the fleet left-hand side of our screen, but this battle between Canada and Rockwool Denmark's absolutely crucial. Right of ways with Canada here, so Denmark need to be careful.
Okay, we're going to have issues here.
Good, let's just...
All right.
Could be a few losses here. If Denmark can't clear Shark Island and can't make this next gate, then they've got a real problem. Looks like they're going to sail in a lovely bit of wind. Oh yeah, there you go. I should have left it to Tom Johnson to tell us that. There's a lovely bit of breeze coming onto the Danish boat, and I think they're going to have a good angle here, but Canada are going to be faster.
That's righty, so...
Yeah, copy.
Sometimes
it's better to be lucky than good, Todd.
Leg 5 of 7. They'll go through this gate and then head back down the course before they hit mark number 6 and then left-hand turn to the finish line. Looks like New Zealand's going to notch their first victory of this event, but the eyes are all on Canada and Denmark.
Yeah, look at that, they dropped the hammer, faster angle for the Canadians, and they've managed to power over the top. I thought Rockwool Denmark were going to get away with it, but not quite. Canada are going to get round. Now for Rockwool Denmark, it's damage limitation time. You cannot let the Roos get past you. You've got to try and get round this mast fast enough.
Is it a bit, Eddie?
Am I bearing away?
Into the circle first, so Denmark should have priority.
They do, but look how slow they are, Todd. They're nearly 15 kilometres an hour faster. Australia are going to try and go round the outside. Australia have got to keep clear. Right of way Australia, but Denmark are going to lose the place. Oh, how costly will that be in the race to the final? Spain are up to 5th in the back round, but the battle for the final is Canada and Denmark have just had a shocker at the top of that upwind leg.
And race number 6 will come to a conclusion for the number 1 team. It will be Emirates New Zealand as they claim their first victory here in Australia. Stevie, you talk about the class on board that boat. That's why it was such a surprise yesterday to see the hole they had dug for themselves with a 7th and 8th and 2 11th place finishes. Meanwhile, their arch nemesis, Australia, winning 2 events out of the 4 on day number 1. Now, Canada, this is a huge move for them, and they get a little help from the Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, if they can bring it home, which they're going to in 2nd place, North Star Canada, well, for Giles Scott, just the tonic. He'll love these shifty conditions, chance to use his real racecraft, his good skills, and yeah, that overtake by Australia, massive on our race to the final, because it's a 2-point swing on that top end of the course. Australia, well, they look fast out there, don't they? They look very, very fast, and for them, it's all about building momentum before the final, as I think Australia will have booked their ticket to that final now.
Yeah, we agreed on board or they're running.
See, Emirates GBR, they hold their position, and it's a drag race with them. And look at the speed as Germany Deutsche Bank trying to close in and pick up a spot. They're going to run out of real estate, so it'll be Emirates GBR limiting their damages as they will finish 6th with the Germans finishing in 7th.
Yeah, and we talked about pressure of the race to the final, didn't we? France and Switzerland, look on our leaderboard on the left-hand side there. France 9th, Switzerland 11th. When it matters, you've got to deliver, and well, they're going to need to win this last race to have any hope of the final if they're on the French or the Swiss team, I'd say.
But what a difference 24-hour makes, as France had looked so good on day number 1 after sitting out the first 2 events because of wing issues. But day number 2, Stevie, has not been their day. France, when they needed it most, a 6th and then a 9th. So that almost takes them out as Italy comes through, and they will finish in 10th place. The Swiss, the winners of race number 1, will finish in 11th place in race number 6.
Going board in 2, 1, board.
So it is the Swiss coming through at dead last, Stevie. It's 6 races. They go from first to last. And unfortunate for them, and they have probably taken themselves out of a chance to get into the event final. Remember, it's only the top 3 teams on points after the 7 fleet races that get into that final. Well, no question about it. The class of the field in race number 6 was the Kiwis, the Black Foils, led by Peter Burling, as New Zealand gets the win ahead of Canada and Australia. We go on board with them now. Peter, great race for you guys. Take us through what happened on day number 1 and the changes you made on day number 2, because you looked so much faster.
Yeah, well, to be honest, we haven't changed a whole heap. Yesterday was a bit of a weak day. We felt really good in the build-up, and then just had a few little issues with the boat handling in the first couple of races, and then obviously that snuff in the second one, and that whole right-hand side, the whole control system shut down. So, a real shame to not get any points in those last 2 races yesterday, but awesome to see the way the team's bouncing back today.
Yeah, Pete, clearly sailing very well out there on the racetrack, and Shark Island in the middle of the course, clearly a challenge. Is it pretty easy to pick which side of it you want to go, or are you sort of relying on lady luck a little bit?
Yeah, well, personally we've been going on just whatever phase we think we're in at the bottom, just carrying on and hoping it works out at the top. Seems to work all right so far. Probably carry on with that.
Pete, appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck in race number 7. So that is the Kiwis winning race number 6. They bounce back on day number 2 with a 2nd and a 1st place.
And it was a beautiful start by the Black Foils, who created so much space below them that allowed them to bear away and accelerate, hitting the line at 75 kilometers an hour. The Canadians hit that pole position on the line, but didn't quite have the speed, so made it to Mark 1 in 2nd. Now, for New Zealand, it was smooth sailing the whole way round. They got into space and continued to extend the lead. Canada, however, got into such a tight battle with Denmark, who at that first bottom gate split off, get some space away from the rest of the fleet, get themselves into some better pressure, and made huge gains on Canada, creating a super tight battle the whole way around the course between the two of them. Denmark with better downwind, Canada made their gains upwind, but ultimately the Danish lose it here at that final top gate, just on boat situations, dropping off the foils. But Australia, what a performance again, going from 8th at Mark 1 to 3rd on that final downwind, just sailing through the pack once again.
So as the Kiwis get the win here in Australia, it is Australia, not the most hospitable hosts, as they continue to pick off points. Well, tell you what, the Kiwis, day number 2, they did something right, because back-to-back, the Emirates fly time at 100%. And as we said, in race number 5, the Kiwis finished in 2nd behind Emirates GBR. And in race number 6, they get the win. With one more race to go, we'll see if they can work their magic one more time. Well, we are pressing on with day number 2. It's Super Sunday at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney. This is event number 3 after stops in Dubai and Auckland for the Rolex SailGP Championship. Well, here in the Harbour City, while racing might be coming to a close, SailGP will leave Sydney with the health of the water it races on in a much better place through its Ocean Impact initiative. SailGP and Emirates collaborated with the Australia SailGP team and the Sydney Institute of Marine Science to install a section of living seawalls along Blues Point in Sydney Harbour. Athletes got a chance to inspect by kayak alongside experts in their field.
Traditional seawalls are flat and straight, and they lack the complexity of natural shorelines. To solve this problem, we're adding complexity-enhancing panels to seawalls. We're actually trying to bring biodiversity back to traditional seawalls.
When we think about life in the harbour, often we think about those creatures that I study, like whales, dolphins, and the fur seals. We don't think about the smaller scale parts of the marine environment that is so important to all of us.
By providing this complex space for oysters and algae to be brought back into areas where they were previously lost, it's setting up a foundation for other fish species and other populations to return back to the coastline that they once inhabited.
Funding will allow for 20 habitat enhancement panels at Blue Point, which aim to generate a 40% increase in habitable area along the seawall.
There was a new section and an old section that was 5 or 6 years old, and just seeing the difference of the growth on the old section of wall. I think it's a really cool project. They're looking at developing more life on the seawalls and creating a more natural structure for species to grow on. Not just here in Sydney, but around the world.
You've got an opportunity for a global international Grand Prix event that requires sail and air rather than fuel. You then have the opportunity in each of those stops to learn about the science going on, connect with the scientists doing the science, and then sharing that with the world.
Everyone in the world has a vested interest in making sure that the ocean stays healthy, and it's projects like these exploring different ways to keep our habitats healthy and growing, and they're going to make the difference in years to come.
So all eyes now on North Star Canada. Have they done enough with one more race to go to get themselves into the event final? They finished 4th in race 5, 2nd in race number 6, and just a short time ago, Lisa Darmanin pulled up and spoke with their driver, Giles Scott.
Well, nice race, Giles. You guys are definitely in the fight for the final here. How's it feeling?
It's feeling good. It's quite frantic out here. Breeze is really piped up, and plenty of options left and right of the island here, but yeah, we've had a nice run at it for these last 2 races. I think we're up to 3rd, one more fleet race to go, and yeah, hopefully we can cling on to this top 3 spot and have a shot at the final, but a lot of sailing to do.
It looks quite difficult out here, but it also looks like a bit of a pattern's emerging around the racetrack, or is it always changing?
You've obviously got a better eye than I have. I'm not too sure about the patterns, but yeah, plenty of puffs and lulls. Seems like you can get on the right-hand side of the island, which is a bit of a surprise for us today. But yeah, we'll see how the next one is.
Awesome. Good luck, Giles. Thanks so much.
Stevie, we got to make sure one of these teams doesn't poach Lisa Darmanin. I mean, she's got the intel, and they're all looking for it right now. And I think right now they're saying maybe we should listen to her reports on the water.
Yeah, well, she'd be a good signing, wouldn't she? But I think she's got an awful lot of passports as well.
Yeah,
so I expect there's plenty of teams out there she could join up with. But no, I think this is a great shot what they're talking about. That island in the middle, Shark Island, great place for the fans. Do you go to the left of it? Do you go to the right of it? Right now, there's more wind to the left of it. But what we've seen in the racing is we've seen those gusts of wind rolling down there. So it's a really interesting feature to this racetrack, and well, they're the best sailors in the world because they've got to make those kind of decisions, and it's absolutely crucial now for Rottwell, Denmark, for Canada, and for the French team. It's so tight in the race to the final. The pressure's on. I think Great Britain and Australia are going to be in that final, and well, that's going to be a battle in itself.
68 seconds to go before the start of the last race of this event here in Sydney. So they get themselves into position in the start box, and this will be it. The final 10 points up for grabs, and then after this race, only the top 3 teams on points will race for the event title. Stevie, it doesn't matter if you qualify in the last position to the final or the first. It's an even. All the scores are wiped away. But I'll tell you right now, this is going to be huge because there's 2 or 3 teams that are still in play. Emily's crunching the numbers, got the old abacus out as we come up on 35 seconds to go.
Yeah, well, bottom of the fleet here, we can see Canada and Denmark tied on a piece of string right next to each other. Very tight in the middle there. That was really tight. New Zealand at the bottom. France already up and foiling towards the top of our screen, but it's Rottwell, Denmark and Canada. Whoever beats whoever will make the final. New Zealand finds some space. Australia have space. It's all about timing right now, and Delapierre, his sense of timing's really good. The French boat dives through the line here. All about acceleration. Eyes are on the middle there. Denmark, France, Canada. Who's got the timing right? Watch for the line to turn white. We go here, and it's a tight start. France have nailed it. Canada a little bit back, and the Roos at the top of the line are going to drop the hammer. But who's going to get to Mark 1 first? Could be the Swiss if they can get that boat cranking over the top.
Here we go, mark number 1 of the final fleet race here at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix.
I don't think it's going to be impossible for Switzerland to make the final if they win and everyone else has a bad race. This is going to be a really tense race. Focus on your own boat, though. Switzerland need to set up for a good manoeuvre before gate 2.
So now the game begins as the Rolex sprint leader Switzerland decides they are going to force the issue. They turn away. Here we go. They've got Brazil to their left. They've got the Australians to the right, and the Aussies now somehow, Stevie, have moved into first place.
Well, they've gone right around the outside, but Canada's the main mover. Middle of our screen there. They've got space. Giles Scott's managed to make a manoeuvre. He's potentially going to be ahead of France and Denmark. He'll come back with the right of way. Gate 2 is going to be like a traffic jam. How do you keep fast in and out here? Brazil have got to keep clear. France have got to keep clear. Oh my word, this is so tight. It's all going to come down to some quick fire manoeuvres. Canada trying to get around the outside. Brazil! Oh, France! Cat-like reactions from De La Pierre. What a moment. And Giles Scott, the door's opened. He's around the outside. Oh my lord, look at the pile up at the bottom here. And for Canada, this is amazingly good news because Rottwell Denmark are stuck on the outside and France are off the foils.
To quote a famous announcer, you can't do that. But look at Giles Scott. He catapults himself into third place. Meanwhile, it's Australia who have firmly ensconced into the final. And then the top of the screen, you can't see him right now, it is Switzerland in first.
Well, Switzerland are heading off to that favoured side of Shark Island. Okay, so that's Arno talking to Seb. He's saying, let's push all the way out. We expect the wind to rotate to the right, which will help us get up to gate 2, Australia. Slingsby seems to be reading the course beautifully, but look at this. Middle of the pack, it's tight, and it's all about the points.
And what that means for the race final is good news for Canada. Not only have they moved up or held their position in third, but they've gained some massive space from the Danish and French, who are now battling at the back of the pack.
Tell you what, Canada might be one of the hottest teams as we approach this third and final fleet race on day number 2, Stevie. They got a fourth in the first race of the day. They got a second, and they're moving their way up now, currently in fourth, which, as Melanie pointed out, that would put them into the final.
Yeah, I think we've got pretty high expectations of Australia. They're still having a good day, even though it's maybe not perfect like yesterday. And actually right now, they're going to make a potential overtake on the Swiss here. Switzerland, 2 more manoeuvres to do, one of which they're doing now. Australia set up, that's their last manoeuvre, and they will have the right of way with the Swiss here. So crucial moment in the race for Switzerland, but it's the race to the final, and Canada, top of our screen, are trying to keep it simple. They've got a decent lead over Rottwell Denmark at the moment. We're halfway through this race, Todd.
Straight, don't worry about him. He's going fast, fine.
Hear the voice on board Switzerland. That is Sebastian Schneider, their driver. North Star Canada's driver, Giles Scott, who was with
the umpires. Penalty Switzerland. Relative Australia. Port tack boat not keeping clear.
Poor time to do that as we take a look inside our Emirates umpire studio. Chief umpire Craig Mitchell on the right side of your screen doling out the penalty. As I was just about to say, North Star Canada and their driver Giles Scott, who drove for Emirates GBR last year, taking over for the legend Ben Ainsley. Giles Scott, a 2-time Olympic gold in the Finn class. So Stevie, he's no stranger here as Australia now has taken over that lead. First place for the Aussies, and this is just a tune-up for the final.
Well, that's right. I mean, it is. It's all on, isn't it? And there's so much talent in the fleet, as we know. But the crucial battle is middle of our screen there. 4th place Canada, 6th place Denmark. Denmark only need to overtake Canada to make the final. So there is a lot of race left here. We can see New Zealand are going to try and turn right. They're getting really slow on that New Zealand boat there. They're going to hope to go back to more wind, but they're taking a big loss to make that happen. I think that's a bad choice by the New Zealand boat at the moment. As Rottwell Denmark come round the gate, they're going to be chasing down the Canadians, but in the moment, it's in Canada's hands.
Right now, Canada's best friend has got to be Peter Burling and the Kiwis, hoping that they find some breeze on the left side of that course, that they can keep a buffer between them and the Danes, as it looks like Rottwell Denmark and Nikolai Sehested know exactly what they need to do. They need to somehow find a way to track down Giles Scott, who is right in front of them by about 220 meters.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand are sailing back into good wind to that side of the island. They're bottom of our screen. Rottwell Denmark are going okay, but they've got plenty of work to do. As at the moment we see the Germans, well, they're making a move here. They've done a lovely job on this downwind leg, potentially going right round the outside of the Swiss. Magic work by Germany. They've really found some boat speed out there on the race course. Australia, though, off the screen, heading away. And in terms of confidence for the final, you can't get any better than winning the last race in dominant fashion. One more upwind leg to go here, Todd. It's now or never for Denmark.
Well, the good news is it has thinned out just a little bit at the bottom of the course, not like we saw last time at the DP World Gate. It will be Australia coming through. They're going to opt for the right-hand side. They'll turn there. And then Germany, Deutsche Bank sitting in second place. Steve, it looks like they've got the line. They should be able to make this.
Yeah, problem here for the Danish. They've got to keep out of the way of New Zealand. That's going to slow them down. Good news again for Canada.
Yep.
New Zealand really playing spoiler here for the Danish crew. As we can see, Switzerland turn left. They're looking for that Hail Mary move, but Giles Scott on board the North Star Canada team. Right turn, keep it simple. One more upwind leg to go for the Canadians. They've got to stay ahead of Denmark.
And the Kiwis forced the Danes in not one, but two extra maneuvers. And look at now, they are off the foils. Oh, this is just tragic for Rockwool, Denmark.
Well, they are, but they're heading out to space. You've got to expect a manoeuvre very soon for Canada. The last thing you want, there you go. Canada's already turned and heading that direction. For Canada, you want to stay on a similar side of the course to the Danish right now to minimise the opportunity for a big turnaround.
Gives us a good opportunity to go down on the course here in race number 7 as we get to the waning moments of this before the event final. Check in with Lisa. Lisa, you said its course is changing drastically. What are you seeing now?
Well, to be honest, Todd, I was going to say that the wind had died overall, but I think it's just getting more patchy out here. We have more clouds over the racetrack. Some teams are falling off the foils in the manoeuvres. The gusts, they're really thin, so you really have to pick your moment and link them all together out here. It's getting harder as the day goes on, to be honest.
Stevie, you talk about what Lisa's reporting there. I mean, just as Emily likes to say, snakes and ladders out there. There's holes, literally holes in the course where there's just no power.
Yeah, I mean, if you analogize it to a car race, it's like you could potentially, if you find yourself in a gust of wind, you've got a car that's got 500 horsepower. If you find yourself in no wind, you're driving a car that's only got 250 horsepower. It's so hard. If you don't find the maximum potential power from Mother Nature out there with the breeze on the racecourse, you're just not going to be able to get the most speed. And as soon as that difference is big, makes a huge difference in the whole race. But right now, Australia seem to be pretty perfect with it. It's also forcing the teams into slightly more manoeuvres on the racecourse. So how well those crews execute them are now absolutely crucial. Rockwool, Denmark struggling to make it round Shark Island. They're at the top of our screen. Canada, it's in their grasp at the moment. Can the Canadians keep themselves out of trouble to get to the finish?
I'll be standby.
So New Zealand goes behind North Star Canada. They drop into that position, and that is a nice buffer for Giles Scott and North Star Canada to have the Kiwis back there kind of watching their 6. It is still Australia as they approach this final gate with Switzerland in 2nd, Germany, Deutsche Bank in 3rd, and then the Canadians in 4th.
Nice angle. Bearing away in 5, slow 1, and 3, 2, 1, coming down.
It's going to take something pretty special to go wrong for the Canadians here for Rockwool, Denmark to have a chance. It looks like it's going to be Canada joining Great Britain and Australia in the final. And I think when we start thinking about the final, Todd, we always talk about momentum. Canada are sailing well today. Australia have been the form boat, but I thought Britain were going to be their main challengers. They seem to have lost a little bit of edge in these last couple of races. Are they keeping their powder dry, or are they just struggling with these changing conditions? Right now, Canada, well, they're well set, but they've got themselves a problem in New Zealand. You've got to keep it simple here. Don't be at all surprised to see Canada to go a little bit safe, maybe an overtake with New Zealand, but keep yourself out of trouble. Last thing they need is infringement right now.
So Canada can let New Zealand get past them. That's not where the damage would be done. It's if Denmark, Rockwool Denmark, can catch them and overtake them. So to Stevie's point, it looks like North Star Canada is going to play this one safe. And as we flash forward to the finish line, the fans on Shark Island, they're happy because the hometown Roos have won again. It's another victory for Australia, their 3rd out of 7 races.
Going board in 2.
The Swiss come through in 2nd place. So Stevie, they started off this whole event with a win in race number 1. They finished race number 7. They come up short of making the final, but they finished in 2nd. And for Germany, it's 3rd. And Canada does hold off the Kiwis, so they will finish in 4th, and that should lock them up into the final.
That's a good day of fighting, guys. Let's finish it off. Let's snake it. Behind. Yeah, we Swiss as well in front. All boats in front. Coming down in 3.
And unfortunately for Nikolai Sehested and that talented crew, Rockwool Denmark, it's just a little bit short. They're going to miss out by about 3 points.
And board.
And the team that kind of kept their head down, Stevie, and out of trouble, Emirates GBR, they did enough in the first 6 races. they could afford a 7th. We always talk about you can have one bad race, something out of the top 6. Well, this was theirs. Damage was already done. They were already in.
Yeah, I mean, they've sailed really, really well. I mean, as of the French, welcome back to SailGP.
Yes.
I mean, they'll be disappointed not making the final, but they've shown the potential they've got. I think for the Spanish, they're going to be disappointed with this event. But yeah, Emirates Great Britain, I do agree, but I just think they'd have wanted to lay a few more punches on that Australian boat in these couple of races before the final. Get Slingsby a bit worried, a bit nervous, and I think all that's happened is probably, we know what a confident sailor Tom Slingsby is, and to go into the final having just won the race, all I would say for Tom is he's not been as perfect with his starting today as he was yesterday, so that's again probably a worry for the rest of the fleet. Another area they can be better going ahead.
So that is it as Brazil comes through in 10th. Italy will take 11th, and we're now set for the final. Well, all teams, unfortunately, cannot make the final because the racing has been sensational over the last 2 days, and no one kicked it off better than the Swiss as we will go on board now with Sebastian Schneider, their driver. Seb, great week for you guys, a great weekend for you. You started off with the win, as I mentioned, and you finished off with a 2nd place. What did you guys learn racing here in this iconic venue of Sydney Harbour?
We learned a lot. We learn every day, and we keep improving as a team, and give us a bit more time and we'll make it to that final. But yeah, really happy to finish strong and finish almost as good as we started.
And Seb, you did seem to be going well. Looking ahead to the final, the Australians seem fast. Are they just sailing faster than everyone, or are they tactically racing better, do you think?
Probably both. They're sailing fast. They're really stable around the race course, really locked in, and they don't make many mistakes. So definitely it's the team to beat at the moment, and we'll be spying them.
Sebastian, appreciate your time. Congratulations to you and the crew, and we will see all of you in a few weeks' time in Los Angeles. So a great job by the Swiss. They get a 1st on day 1, and they wrap things up with a 2nd.
It was initially France that was set up for that start perfectly, but a little too early, had to kill speed, and just didn't have the pace at the gun. Meanwhile, Australia at the top of the line came flying in with clean space, 71k an hour. The Swiss held them off though with a better angle to Mark 1 and held on to that lead for a little bit. Meanwhile, at that first bottom gate, there was utter chaos with a huge pileup that ultimately ended the story for France and Denmark, slowing them both down, taking them off the foils, and giving a huge opportunity here to Canada to get some space for their 2 biggest rivals. Now, further up the course, it was all about the little battle between Switzerland and Australia. The Swiss held on to their lead for a bit, but the Aussies really did chase them down and ultimately stole the win by sailing faster round the course. Switzerland sailed less distance and maneuvers, but they made a few too many errors, getting a penalty and giving the win to Australia once again.
So Australia gets a win in race number 7. New Zealand came on strong towards the end, as did Germany and Switzerland. The Germans, Germany Deutsche Bank finishing 3rd, and they go 100% on the Emirates fly time. So they take away something nice from this regatta, although they got a lot of penalty points on practice day and beyond. So we'll see how they rebound in Los Angeles. So after 7 exciting fleet races here at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix, this is how it looks. Australia is in with 63, Emirates GBR with 51, and Canada with 43. So the final is set. Australia, Emirates GBR, and North Star Canada. Fans on Shark Island getting themselves into position, and the final, we are a go here in Sydney at the Rolex SailGP Championship. back in now with Rockwell, Denmark. Nikolai Sehested. So very close, Nikolai. You guys were missed out on 3 points. And this last race, race number 7, really was the turning point. How did you find the racing out there in Sydney Harbour today?
Yeah, it's obviously fantastic racing. Not the result we wanted, but it's a long season. There's a bit of patience to it, but we got a lot of things to work on, and obviously this sort of racing, you really need to be strong in M1, and we were a little bit struggling in M1 this event, so we need to sort that out.
Nikolai, for a day that seems so chaotic on the racetrack there, well, the whole weekend seemed like that, your results have been unbelievably consistent. Is that a conscious decision by you guys to just keep chipping away over the whole year, or are you going to give us a bit of Viking excitement as things go on?
Oh, you guys love the Viking mode, so we'll give you plenty of that throughout the season, but let's ease into it and not start the season with too many damage points, but for sure there'll be some Viking mode coming on.
Nikolai, you guys never finished lower than 7th this weekend in 7 races, so that's got to give you a lot of confidence as you guys now make the turn for America and the next stop in Los Angeles.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're a strong group. We can battle our way through when we're in the front or in the back, and we can also defend when we are in the front. So, yeah, consistency is always key, but we want to try and win some races. So there will be some more risk, but we just gotta sort out a few things before we get that right.
Nikolai, I appreciate your time and continue to bring that Viking mode. I don't care what anyone else says. We'll see you in Los Angeles.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Well, it's a beautiful day here in Australia, and we are down to the final race. It will be between Australia, Emirates GBR, and Canada here at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. You know, the search for new talent in the next generation of SailGP team members is always a top priority for the league. So, a visit to Sydney is a great opportunity to see what one of the great sailing nations has coming up in its talent pipeline through the WASP program. Stevie, I know you love this stuff, and we saw some great action out on the water all weekend long. As part of the Inspire program that aims to develop the next generation of foiling superstars, 9 talented Australia sailors compete this weekend on the SailGP racetrack in front of Shark Island. It was an incredible lineup, with the reigning WASP New South Wales state champion Will Troop and 2025 WASP Women's National Champion Bridget Conrad also looking for victory. After a huge series of races, Louis Tilley from Sydney is on top of the scoreboard coming into the final day of racing. He has ambitions to work in engineering and professional sailing. The leading women's athlete is Bridget Conrad, who has already sealed her title with a huge lead over Heidi Ferguson.
This is my 3rd year at SailGP Inspire. It's been quite an incredible experience this year. This year the level's just been at so high. The
SailGP Inspire program has really stepped up my game, because the first year I did it, I couldn't make it past Mark 1, but this year I think Heidi and I have really stepped up, and we're really getting involved we're beating the boys. It's really getting closer, and I just really hope that it continues, because I feel like next year I could even give Louis a run for his money.
These boats, you're having to adapt as you're sailing, changing ride height, your settings. So then the first year was impossible to sail them for me. The second year I was kind of getting to understand them. And then this year I've got a boat that I've figured out how to work it, and I can just execute it now.
Well, yeah, and day 2, it was just as gusty, just as tricky for the WASP as it was for our SailGP F50s out there on the water. But it was Louis Tilley that came home first. He managed to bring off a 3-peat. That's 3 years in a row of winning the event here in Sydney, just ahead of Will Troop. Bridget Conrad, well, she brought it home, sailed a fantastic event, absolutely dominated the women's fleet, really. She was inspired to go sailing when she met Tom Slingsby after the 2012 Olympics. And let's hope some of these athletes are out on F50s in the not too distant future, bringing home the prizes. So those are the sailors of the future. These are the sailors of the now. Tom Slingsby, Dylan Fletcher, and of course, North Star Canada and Giles Scott. They will all participate in one race to see who takes home the title here in Sydney.
And just a short time ago, Lisa Darmanin catching up with the Australians down in the water as they prepare to defend home waters here at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix.
Tom, well done making another final, but I know you're out here to win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The job's only half done. Yeah, we need to execute in this last race. We've been sailing really well today and yesterday, but this format means it's not over. Winner takes all final. Hopefully we get a good start and we can show our speed.
Awesome. I know you want to get into the debrief, so I'll let you go. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you very much.
So it's game face on for Tom Slingsby and company, as they have got to be considered the odds-on favorites to win this thing. But don't tell that to Giles Scott or Dylan Fletcher. 1 minute to go until the final is off the line here at the Rolex SailGP Championship in Sydney. This is the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. And Stevie, tell you what, Tom Slingsby is probably the hottest sailor. They have done the best over the last 7 races. But I'll tell you what, Dylan Fletcher and Giles Scott just lurking in the grass, just waiting to pounce.
Well, that's right, the Australians will have a plan. But this is the race course where a plan's not really as good as it gets first. That first contact with your enemy out here, Fletcher. He's coming for a late run at things here. I like where the Australians are positioned, but they're into a battle with Canada already. Dylan Fletcher's got the chance to play spoiler here. He's got to keep some space. Canada and Australia, oh, it's really tight there. Australia have got to keep clear. They're in a real fight with 16 seconds to go. Boat's going to fill up. This is opening the gap here for Fletcher. He's coming through fast. Middle of the line's the favoured place to be. 9 seconds to go. Britain are calling themselves late. 5 seconds, watching for the line to turn white. It's timing that counts right now. Oh, what a start. Fletcher's at absolute speed. On the inside, it's Canada. I think Emirates, Great Britain are going to be able to lead at Mark 1 here.
Penalty Australia, relative Canada. Windward boat not keeping clear.
Oh, Slingsby's going to have to fight back from third here. He's going to have to be last round Mark 1, and then it's going to be a fight back. But for Emirates, Great Britain, the ball's in their court.
So at mark number 1 here in the final, it's Emirates GBR with the lead. Canada in second, and the hometown favorites, Australia, will sit in third. But Stevie, what a move by Tom Slingsby. Didn't pull wide, he just went wide, and now he's back up to speed.
Yeah, he just did it wide. He's a bit of engine experience out there, and he nailed that manoeuvre, but it's all about being smooth on board Emirates Great Britain. They're going to be into gate 2 with no more manoeuvres, but what's the choice? Do they go straight and take a left turn? It looks like Canada might make it down and cut the corner. Big overlay by Emirates Great Britain. Canada have seen a wind shift. Looks to me like it's a lead change. Canada are going to lead at gate 2. Australia could be straight back to second. Mistake by Emirates Great Britain.
At gate number 2, the DP World Gate, it is North Star Canada, Giles Scott that will lead. And then it's Emirates GBR, and Tom Slingsby rolls the dice. He opts for the other side. He loves to stay away from his competitors.
Yeah, he saw the chance to follow Canada, but he would have been slow. So what Slingsby's doing, he's trying to find some space. He's looking at the breeze, and at the moment it looks like he's on a nice wind shift up the course, where you expect to see him manoeuvre quite soon and head to the right-hand side of Shark Island. That's been the classic move. Lisa, how's it looking out there on the racetrack? Which side of Shark Island are you going? Oh, big tacking error.
I still think the right-hand side is strong, but where Australia have tacked, they're in plenty of pressure. Obviously that manoeuvre was a little bit wobbly, but because they nailed that, they're going to be in an okay position, but it's going to be a fight all the way to the end here with GBR tacking in front.
Oh, big cover manoeuvre there, Todd. These two are already in a fight, and that only means good news for Canada. Look here on our Oracle Cloud, big gains to Canada.
They might try and split the other side of the island. What do you think if they do that? Going straight here. Are we happy with that?
Big lefty coming in about 10.
Well, it's a 300-metre lead. What he's saying there is, what do we do if we split? If it's gusty and shifty like this, it's very simple. You have to sail what you're in. Control the controllable. All you can do is say where you think you see wind, go and find that breeze. If Australia gets lucky on the left-hand side of Shark Island, so be it. Do what you think right, Giles.
Well, Giles Scott and North Star Canada had to fight their way into that final, getting past Denmark. He's conferring with Annie Hager, Paul Campbell-James to see exactly where they're going to go. And there it is. Stevie referred to it as a roundabout. Shark Island right in the middle of the course. And Canada is out in front by more than 150 meters.
Here we go, this is in the pre-start here, and that was nearly with 20 seconds to go. Australia just pushed down across Canada, got too close. That was where that penalty came from. Canada turned the boat up into the breeze, had to keep clear. They filled the boat up, which will have hurt them, but right now it's a massive lead. As we come back on board, there's spray of water all over the Canadian boats. It's going to be champagne over that Canadian boat if they can hang on to this lead. Look at that, 150-metre lead over Great Britain. Right-hand side of screen, Australia, where they've found no luck on that side of Shark Island. Slingsby's going to need a miracle from here, and the Canadians, North Star Canada, what a season 5 moment for them this could be. Halfway through the race, Todd, 1 down, 1 up, and then the sprint to the finish is all that stands between them and victory here in Sydney.
I'm not sure they're laying anyway that turn. Bearing away in 3.
That's Hannah Mills talking about the Australians, saying they're not really a threat at the moment. We've got big gaps opened up here. With Great Britain coming and engaging with Australia, they've really potentially given an unassailable lead to the Canadians. It's going to be so hard to find a way back through. If Australia have got a simple choice here, do they follow? If they do follow, it's very hard to overtake.
From here, bud.
You hear the frustration in the voices on board Australia. They looked so good coming into this race as they win race number 7 to put themselves in the top position, but those scores wiped away, and all 3 teams, apologies for the salty language, but they come around and now they find themselves firmly ensconced in 3rd as they look up the track, and it is Canada way out in front. North Star Canada, the last time Canada won an event at SailGP, Stevie, you've got to go back to season 3, that's 2023, and for Giles Scott, you go back to last year, that's when he was driving for Emirates GBR, and that's when he made his debut winning in Halifax.
Oh, and don't underestimate the fact there will be a bit of niggle between Giles Scott and Dylan Fletcher. They've swapped roles there. You know, we don't know what exactly went on with that Emirates Great Britain. Obviously, of course, a fantastic opportunity for Giles to come and sail for Canada and represent them, which I know he's very proud to be doing. But him and Dylan, you know, they've been rivals for positions in British teams a lot. This will mean an awful lot to Giles right now if he can hang on. And yeah, huge for North Star Canada's season, huge for the new ownership. So here we go. Upwind leg to go, 3 legs to go.
That's faster. 23 to boundary.
And Stevie, it's one of those situations where if you were coaching them, you would probably just say, keep it simple. Keep it simple. You have a massive lead. Don't let the pressure come to you and make a silly mistake.
Yeah, and you've got to focus in on your manoeuvre, so do the next right move. That's what's key at this point here. Where's their wind? That's the first thing. If I've got more wind, I can keep going fast. Now, I'm surprised they didn't turn a little bit sooner. As soon as they saw Great Britain were about to turn left, I'm surprised Canada didn't turn. They've given about 50 metres extra leverage than they needed to, but left-hand side of our screen, there is good wind.
Get to lay and see if there's an option to split.
Well, that's there, Hannah talking about the downwind leg. They get to a point where they can either turn right or left, and then they take a call off Canada. At that point, we're not going to follow Canada. If we follow Canada, then the only hope is that they make a mistake. By splitting, they give themselves a shot. I'm surprised Canada didn't manoeuvre sooner after that gate to cover off Great Britain. There is now an opportunity. When the boats come back together, Great Britain are going to have the right of way.
Right now, Great Britain has the lead. Emirates GBR has found the speed on that side of the course. Look at the difference, 66 kilometers an hour as opposed to North Star Canada, closer to the 55, 56 kilometers an hour.
Advantage Great Britain here, they need a good manoeuvre.
Pressing a little, yeah, good angle.
Oh, it was pretty much perfect. Here we go, I think they're going to make, oh, it's a huge lead change, but Great Britain say they're not laying. They're expecting to have to manoeuvre more. Potentially, North Star Canada can do it with just one more manoeuvre. Mother Nature could have one final say in this. There's the ley line. That's the position that says Canada will make it with no more manoeuvres.
And then you have to factor in Shark Island and what the wind is going to do there. So let's quickly go down in the water, check in with Lisa. Lisa, on leg 5 of 7, you see what's left. What are you seeing as far as wind, and whose position do you like better?
I'm a bit worried about Emirates Great Britain now. They are in quite a lot of light pressure, so it is going to be difficult for them. But the wind at this moment, it's just coming over to land, and I think they're just going to get this riding now as I'm watching it, and they may make it.
I think they need to make it. I think they need to make it here if they can. They've got to watch out for that little Mark in the water there, but it's all about making gate 5 with no more manoeuvres for Great Britain. I think they're going to do enough. Canada will be quicker.
And look at the gap that Australia has closed. Don't count them out just yet as they come in. Look at the speed differences, and it is Emirates GBR right now out in front.
All to gain here, guys. Nothing to lose. Let's go for it.
Oh, I love the attitude.
Right of way is with Great Britain. They are allowed to do a couple of manoeuvres if they need to, but they've got to keep the speed. I think they're going to be okay. They've crept round ahead of him. Huge moment. Can they re-accelerate? I think they can. They're just one turn away here. Purely about a minute's racing left. I don't see what Canada can do from here.
6-second lead, it's all it is, and they will make their way up to mark number 6. Can they hold on to that lead? Dylan Fletcher and company, they've got the lead. Here come the speed though. Look at Dylan, look at Giles Scott, they're starting to pick up a little speed.
Potentially 2 more manoeuvres. It looks like it's hard to get there. First to move Canada, that's a good call. Force extra manoeuvres into the British boat. Try and force the error. No errors so far. Send it fast. 2 more manoeuvres for both boats.
Rolling away. Rolling away, mate. We'll get there.
Oh, I think the British are going to try and make it with no more manoeuvres.
Left turn to finish.
Oh, Hannah Mills there, calm voice. Good time for a calm voice that was.
Well, Giles Scott, you saw what he was trying to do there, Stevie. He rolled the dice. It didn't come up Yahtzee for him. And just like that, the smallest of margins, it is Hannah Mills and Dylan Fletcher that get around that final mark. And now it is a straight shot to glory land. Emirates GBR, they've been in the final for the last 2 events, and they make the 3rd final in a row. And the Emirates winning moment goes to Emirates GBR. They take the win in Sydney.
Oh, that was some race. And they set it up at the bottom, didn't they? Get to ley line, and let's see if we get the chance to split. They certainly did, and have some of that indeed. That's 3 podiums from 3 starts for Dylan Fletcher on his comeback to SailGP. What a performance. Tough pill to swallow for Australia.
And it's a tough one for Australia. The winners of the last event in Auckland, New Zealand. They came here, Stevie, looked so good on practice day. They looked great on day number 1, looked great on day number 2, and it came down to that last race. Got entangled with Emirates GBR. And Tom Slingsby is not happy. He is still having words about what Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell doled out to them just before they got to mark number 1.
Yeah, well, it was just because I think the penalty came on so late, so he didn't have the opportunity to get rid of the penalty as early as he'd like to. But of course, it comes down to meters. Right-hand side there, Sir Ben Ainsley. He'll love watching that. Great for Emirates, Great Britain.
It is Emirates GBR that reigns supreme in Sydney.
Let's go. Yeah.
And it was a huge moment at the start. After that incident between Australia and Canada, Canada was slow, and that allowed GBR to slingshot through the line at over 70 kilometers an hour. With that penalty on Australia as well, it meant they were able to hold on to a lead for a matter of meters. They overstood the ley line here, which allowed Canada to sneak back past and steal the lead. But it was not over from there. GBR chased hard. They sailed the perfect trifecta around that course with a higher average speed, shorter distance sail, and they minimized maneuvers. All of that together allowed for them to make the most of every wind shift out there, get back past Canada, and ultimately take that win. I don't think they could have really sailed much better out there.
I don't know if Dylan Fletcher was listening to Stevie Morrison, but he kind of had a wind-up on him, telling him that Giles Scott might get the better of him this time, and that's when he turned on the afterburners, and somehow Emirates GBR found the speed to overtake Canada, and they get it done. Plus, they get the Emirates fly time 100%. You can't do it much better than that. So being in the finals the last 2 events, this time, the 3rd event, it is Emirates GBR that claims the win. And now we go down on board with one of the teams making it to the final, and that is North Star Canada. Their driver, Giles Scott, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Wow, Giles, that was one of the most exciting races we've had all year long. Where did that race turn for you guys?
Yeah, look, I think we've had an amazing day today. We've got to be super happy with a 2nd place. But I'm certainly sat here right now with a few what ifs, and we're obviously in a great spot with an amazingly big lead for almost all of that race, and that final upwind
The Brits did a really nice job of picking up a pretty big shift on that right-hand side, and from there that was it for us. So congrats to those guys. But look, amazing effort from North Stars, and look, we're just happy to have a good day today. Get on the podium for the first time as a squad.
Giles, appreciate your time. You, Annie Hanger, Paul Campbell, James, you guys had a great event just to get into that final. So congratulations, and we will see you in Los Angeles. So let's take a look at the event points and how they're doled out. Remember, you get 10 points for winning an event, and those 10 points go the way of Emirates GBR. They have had 3 finals in a row, and this time they punched through to get all 10. Canada picks up a massive 9 points for them, so a big win for Giles Scott and a team that was unable to get points in Auckland. And Australia in the final again, but Tom Slingsby will not be happy with those 8 points. So after 3 events, it looks like this. Emirates GBR now out in front. Australia in second, Spain in third. New Zealand picks up the points. They limited their damage, Stevie. They are now in 4th place on 20 points, even with Spain, the winners of last year. Rockwell, Denmark, Canada, France, Switzerland. And then you have Red Bull, Italy, Mubadala, Brazil, the USA, and Germany, Deutsche Bank, all looking to rebound after very tough weekends here in Sydney. They put their eyes squarely on Los Angeles. And just moments ago, Lisa Darmanin catching up with the winners, Emirates GBR and their driver, Dylan Fletcher.
Congratulations, Dylan. First win back here at SailGP. You must feel so good.
Oh, absolutely buzzing to get the win. You know, 3 events, took us a 3rd one, but yeah, great race out there and just stoked to get a win where it all started.
And you had to fight all the way around that course, but you made it happen when you needed to.
Yeah, we won the start, but after that, you know, big mistakes, but yeah, you know, great. I think a great race here, and great to see all the spectators. So stoked.
Congratulations! Enjoy the celebration.
Thank you very much.
And here we have our Rolex Precision Sailors of the Day. Unsurprisingly, driver of the day, Dylan Fletcher, and Hannah Mills, strategist of the day, with some glamour calls, making sure they sail the least amount of distance. Florian Trittle claims wing trim of the day, one of the top average speeds out there. And Leo Takahashi, 100% fly time.
And Emirates GBR just racking up the rewards here in Sydney as they get the DP World highest speed of the day, 93.54 kilometers. Coming in today, we thought, well, maybe it's going to be a little bit light breeze. Not the case. Mother Nature delivering as SailGP is powered by nature, and Emirates GBR with the fastest speed of the day. Well, that puts a wrap on the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix in Sydney. It's event number 3, and now all eyes turn to the US of A. We've got a triple header in the States coming up for you, kicking off in Los Angeles, March 15th and 16th. Get ready, California. This March, SailGP hits the waters of Los Angeles and San Francisco. Witness national teams battle at breakneck speeds aboard flying F-50 catamarans just meters from the shore. High-speed drama, heart-pounding action, and an unforgettable experience await. Don't miss your chance to be part of the adrenaline-fueled spectacle. Secure your tickets now. So we've got a doubleheader on the west coast of the USA. That's coming up, but right now it is time to give the prizes. And Martin Shepard, the national chairman of KPMG Australia, will be giving the prize to the winning team, and that winning team is Emirates GBR as they claim the victory after being in the previous 2 finals in Dubai and Auckland. Dylan Fletcher, the rookie this year for Emirates GBR, punches through, and his talented squad takes home the trophy here in Sydney, Australia. It's got to feel good for them, and it's going to make the travel up to North America a lot easier. Once again, I want to remind you, the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix coming up in March 15th and 16th, and of course, a week later, it's to San Francisco on the 22nd and 23rd. We look forward to that. So on behalf of Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris saying so long for now from the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney, event number 3 here at the Rolex SailGP Championship. Once again, it's Emirates GBR that claims the victory down under. We'll see you in LA. The best sailors on the planet have now arrived in one of the most iconic port cities in the world. This is Sydney, Australia. Look at the speeds.
This is the battle to the final. Canada trying to get around the outside of Brazil. Oh, from
Shark Island, they're happy. And the Emirates winning moment goes to Emirates GBR.